Hello friends. Today I thought we might venture back into the world of vinyl records. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, so I thought it might be a good time. But we'll take a look at 5 more records from my vinyl record collection. I tried to choose a few different genres and a couple of different decades. We can look at the album art and the vinyl itself, and if there are any little extras inside, we can take a look at those as well. And I'll try to give a few thoughts about each one. I think I'll do this the way I've done the other vinyl episodes and start with the oldest record and work our way to the newest one. So up first we have In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. So look at the back cover. I don't think there are any little extra goodies in this one. This is a reissue, which most of these are because there were so few printed when it was released. Here's a look at the vinyl itself and the album art, or the center art. This album came out in 1998. It's a sort of lo-fi, indie rock, folk, alternative album that's become sort of a cult classic. Neutral Milk Hotel started in Louisiana. The main artist's name is Jeff Mangum, and eventually became more of a full-fledged band, short-lived. But they, along with other bands like Of Montreal and Olivia, Tremor Control, The Apples in Stereo, and a few others, sort of created this music collective, sort of unofficial record label called the Elephant Six, which released a lot of influential records around this time and a little after. This also came out when the internet was just sort of starting to become ubiquitous, and music blogs and things like that were really just starting and becoming all the rage. Music message boards and forums, so very popular album with a lot of artists who came after, and for good reason. It's really raw sounding album, the lyrics and the vocals and the experimental nature of it. So if you are a fan of any of the bands I've already mentioned, you've probably already listened to this, but if not, I think you might like it. Also, certain other groups like Bright Eyes and the Lumineers, you could sort of trace their lineage back to records like this one. So if you're a fan of those artists as well, you might want to give this one a listen. But this is In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel from 1998. Next up I have Transatlanticism by Death Cab for Cutie. Here's the rear of the cover. I think this one might have some goodies inside. Let's see. Yeah, we have a nice booklet. With lyrics and more art from the cover artist, as well as album credits. Really nice booklet. This was a very important and maybe formative album for me growing up. 2003, I was in my mid-20s, and this album really seemed to speak to me in a lot of relevant ways. This was Death Cab's, I believe, final record on Barsuk Records before they signed to Atlantic Records. I still think this is their best album. I may be a bit biased on that. The vinyl itself, it's actually a double LP album, but here's the center art for the discs. And it has two. This is actually, I believe, the most valuable vinyl record that I own. I have not been collecting vinyl my entire life, so most of the albums that I have, I would say maybe half of the albums I have are reissues, but this is a first edition original from the release share, and I want to say they're worth about $100 right now, which doesn't really matter to me because I wouldn't sell it, but I find it interesting how there is a market for everything, and vinyl records are no exception when it comes to vintage records and more rare objects. But anyway, this is Transatlanticism. In case you don't know Death Cab for Cutie, they're an indie rock band from Washington State. They're still active, although one of the more important founding members is no longer with them. Chris Walla, who was for a long time their producer, recording engineer, mixing engineer, guitarist extraordinaire, co-songwriter. And he's gone on to produce other bands, and he's a really good producer. But if you're a fan of indie rock, then I'm sure you've probably heard this already, but if not, I would say this is definitely a classic album. Transatlanticism from Death Cab for Cutie. Along similar lines, we have Phoenix. This is their album Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix from 2009. Let's look at the back of this one. I feel almost certain if you have ever listened to any indie pop or new wave music, you have heard a song from this album. It's one of those rare albums where almost every song is a potential hit. Some of the most memorable melodies and hummable melodies from really any record I own. It's kind of extraordinary how melodic and catchy these songs can be. But Listomania is probably the most popular song, or maybe the most well-known. Many songs from this album have been on countless TV shows and movies, and they are a French band, and I want to say the lead singer and songwriter is married to Sofia Coppola, so you will often find their music in her films. This is just a fun record to put on when you want to sing along to something catchy, and if you're trying to get things done, it's also a nice album to put on and get to work. So yeah, if you're a fan of pop music, indie rock, new wave, you definitely like that album, I think. Speaking of which, here's the center label. Yeah, that's Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix from 2009. So, leaving the rock genre completely, something entirely different. We have Jungle Fire's Tropicoso from 2014. Here's a look at the rear cover. You can get a glimpse of the group there. This is a reissue from, I believe, 2022 that was under the 10 Bands, One Cause limited edition for, I believe, cancer research or something related to cancer. I'm not sure exactly, but it comes on this really cool pink vinyl with black specks. This is a really fun album, mostly instrumental with some vocalese, but it's in the sort of Afrobeat, funk, Latin music genres, and I just love it. I love to put this on in the background and just let it carry me away sometimes. Or if I'm trying to do things around the house, it's a great one to put on and really feel motivated and makes you want to dance. It's very upbeat, catchy, percussion-driven music and some really super cool bass lines, brass. It's just a really fun album. So if you're into Afrobeat, funk, Afro-Cuban, Latin music, anything of that nature, definitely give Jungle Fire's Tropicoso a listen. And finally, something different. This is LP5 by Apparat. So look at the rear cover. And this one includes an art print of the album art, but I'm not gonna pull that out and unfold it. It's the same thing, just a larger version. And here's a look at the vinyl label. So Apparat is basically one guy from Germany named Sasha Ring. And this album, I would say, is electronic, down-tempo, a little experimental, ambient, bordering on modern classical in some spots. It's a very chill listen. So if you're in a sort of relaxing mood or just in the headspace where you just want to kind of zone out and have something in the background that you can choose to focus on or not, this is a perfect album for that. You have some instrumental music and you have also more traditional songs with lyrics. Well, traditional in the sense that they have lyrics, but not necessarily in their instrumentation or style. But if you're a fan of music to chill to or to put on while you're studying, if you like electronic music, down-tempo, lo-fi, definitely give LP5 by Apparat a listen. He has another album that I enjoy called The Devil's Walk, and I think its claim to fame is there's a song called Goodbye on there that was used in Breaking Bad and also as the sort of title music for the show Dark, the German show Dark on Netflix. So if you've ever watched those two shows, then you have already heard Apparat and maybe didn't know it. Yeah, that's LP5 from 2019. So those are the 5 records that I brought to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, it's been a while since we've done one of these vinyl record collection videos, and I thought it was time to do another. I have plenty more records where those came from, and we'll be doing more in the future for sure. But as always, I would love to hear what you think, if you enjoy this type of video, if you enjoy vinyl records, maybe some of your favorite records, favorite artists. I am always looking for new music, and I would love to hear from you. So I hope this video finds you well, and maybe a little less anxious. And until next time, goodbye.